One. So this is a sample use case for pivoting, changing your long format table into a wide format table. Um, this is just a blob data, not representative of any actual person or student. Okay, so we have first column, which is a student ID or just IDs. These are just randomized names, and these are just made up data. Okay, just for the purposes of today's task. Okay, so what we have here, if we add a filter and let's just pick a random ID. Okay, I'm gonna let me pick a random ID. Let's say this ID right here. Okay, so this student 1955 have taken two tests. Okay, one math and one reading, and these are the test rate scores accordingly. So what we really wanted. Okay, so let me clear this. So for the task for today is this. What we want is instead of two rows or multiple rows, depending on how many number of tests a student have taken, we want just one single row for that person, for that student. And we want to pivot it such that we can capture the count and the maximum score. So what do I mean by that? Sometimes when there are like big range tests that are conducted in different schools, a student can are allowed to take multiple tests um, in one subject because they want to have like get the highest score possible or the highest average possible or something like that. So say for instance this student ID number 1 have taken math 3 times, then I want to find out how many times did this student took math, how many times did it took reading, how many times did it take language. That's the first 3 columns that we want to find out in a pivoted way. Okay, and at the same time we want to get the count. We also want to find what is the maximum score for that particular test for that particular student. So say go back again to this kid who have taken 3 math tests, and let's say he has scored 50, 70, and 90. Well, I want this cell right here to populate the maximum one, which is 90. That is our aggregation. That is that we're trying to solve at this point. But obviously you could also choose minimum if in case, of course, these are scores, so we want the maximum, right? But sometimes if you want, say, credit, what's something that you want to be minimal? Charges, or what you call that thing, if you owe someone something, right? So you want to find out what's the minimum possible things that you have owed. So it depends. You could also get the sum of all items, or you could also get what else, average. So depending on your aggregation. So for me, what I want to aggregate is the count and also the score. So let's get started. Okay, so let's go back to our data set. We will upload this on Power Query using table range again. So go to data, go to under get and transform data, choose table range. Of course, you can also upload this in a different way. All right, so the score that we want to use is the test red score and not the percentile. So let's keep all the columns that we really just need for today. All right, so we want student ID, we want the test name, and also the red score. Highlighting all of that, the ones that we need, we can get rid of all the other rows. I mean columns that we won't need for this task. Okay. So now that I have those in green, I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna say remove other columns. Okay. All right. Now, for the test name, let me check how many tests are there, okay? I'm going to click on this one. Right now I can see all of that, but I don't know, maybe there are some more because there are a lot of rows. Let's find out, by the way, how many rows are in here. You go to transform, you go count rows, and let's find out how many total rows. You have 21,000. That will not be shown in the preview, right? So right now we just got the count. So I'm gonna remove this tab because I want to go back to my item. There are 21,000 rows. This is just a preview page, so therefore, I don't know, maybe there are some other tests. I don't really know. So I'm gonna click load more. I'm not gonna click OK or cancel. I just want to see a preview of all the types of tests, and I can see it right now. I can see that there are language from second to 12th grade, math 2 to 5th grade, and so on and so forth. I don't want to be really that granulated, is that the right word? Okay, I just wanted really to find out all the languages, all the math, and all the reading. Okay, so I'm gonna cancel this. Now that I have seen that, I'm just gonna move this on the side because I want to transform a little bit. I want to do a little bit of cleaning in here. So under test name column, I want to change that column such that it will only show reading regardless of the grade level, math regardless again of the grade level, and language. So let's do that. Highlighting this, let's go to under home. You see that split column. I'm gonna split by delimiter. All right, the delimiter that we're gonna use is you can use colon or space, right? So let's use space. All right, what are our options? So you select or enter a delimiter. You can choose space or whatever you want in here that's available in the data. In this case, I'm just going to use space. You have split at, so either the leftmost delimiter. So that means if you use space and leftmost delimiter, the first space will be between that column, growth column, and then space reading, right? So therefore, it will create two columns, one on the left of that first space, and everything else on the second column. You can do that. Rightmost would be on the last space, which is between GA and 2015. One column, everything before that space, and another column, everything after that space. We will do each occurrences of delimiter. So that means every single time a space, there's a space, I want to create a new column. That's basically what we're trying to say. All right, I'm going to click OK. Now, we don't really need all of these other columns. We really just need this column, right? So I'm going to highlight the ones that I want to delete. You can delete one column at a time, but right now I'm going to delete everything all at once that I don't need. Pressing Control on my keyboard, highlight the first one I want to delete, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and then right click, remove, not remove other columns, otherwise you will remove everything that you need but and retain everything that you don't need. So therefore, we're gonna remove the columns that we just highlighted. There you go. And we will rename this subject. Okay. I'm gonna move this one again. So right now we are actually ready to transform. But before that, we remember our problem that we want to solve is we want to find out, like this student right here, 531. How many times did he or she take the reading test? How many times math, and so on and so forth, right? At the same time, we also want to find the maximum scores. So we can do that by grouping them. Now, when we group, we cannot only use one reference because, say for instance, row 2 and 3, 53 ID number 539. If you group them by student ID, then you can say that the maximum score is 254, which is correct, but that's not really representative of one subject at a time, right? It's the maximum score ever for this kid. What we want is we want to find the score for math, score for language, score for reading if it's available. So what we need to do is let's group this one first. Okay, under home, use group by. We will use advanced because we have two references. We want to group them by ID and also group them by subject. Okay, now we want the count and we want the maximum score. So under new column name, let's create a second one. This will be for the count, all rows, and then the next one will be the score. And how do we get the score? We get it by finding the maximum test ret score. Okay, so the first one is just the count by ID by subject. The second one is maximum score by ID by subject. Let's click OK. And you will have uh, two extra rows now. Okay, so this means I student ID 531 have taken reading one time, and the score was 214. Now let's explore a little bit on this one. Let's look at the count, the one with the highest count. So click on that one and let's sort this descending. So we start from the highest. So we have 18. So this student ID 4588 have taken reading 18 times. Okay, so that's a lot. Well, remember, this is just a made up data. So, all right. And the score, the highest score among all the reading um, attempts that this kid have done is 229. So this is what we want. All right. So now we're ready to um, um, pivot this data. But remember, when we pivot, we have the unique IDs. We want the rows. I mean the new columns, which is math, reading, and language, and the data that goes under those two columns. But right now we have two sets of data, and we want them both, right? So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna merge these two. Okay. All right. Highlight these two. Right click, merge column. Let's add a separator. So I'm just going to choose equal sign. Okay. The new column will be called merged. Okay. So now we have that. We need to put a separator so that if eventually we will separate them back, right? Okay. So now we're ready to pivot. This is your reference. This is the column that you want to make to pivot. Okay, so you go to transform now, pivot column. The values are the ones under merged. Advanced settings, we don't want to aggregate anything, we just want to see what the data. Okay, click OK. So now you have the ID, you have one column for reading, one column for math, and one column for language. Under each one of these, you have two information. You have the count and the score. So we want to split that so that we have one column for the count, one column for the split. All right, so highlight the first row, the reading column. You go to under transform, you have split column by delimiter, and we want to split them from the equal sign. We want each occurrences. I'm just gonna click on this advanced options. I want to make sure that it will really create two rows, right? Click OK. The first one is the count, the second one is the score. Well, I'm gonna split the rest of the other subjects as well and just basically repeat the same process. Okay. All right, and then we have language. Let's split this one as well. And then now we will rename the columns after we have successfully separated this. Okay, start from the back. All right, so the second one, language, this is the score, language score. Okay, double click to rename. We want language count. And then math score. And then math count. All right, next we have reading score, reading count. And then, of course, we want all the counts together, all the scores together. Okay, so I'm gonna move this math count next to the reading count, and then language count, just drag it next to the rest of all the counts. Therefore, that will put all the scores together. So we're pretty much done. We will load this one now on table. So go back to home, close and load to. You can close it, load to as a table, and it will create a new tab around here. But I just want it to be a new connection. All right, and I'm gonna open a different sheet. So this is where I want my table to populate. Right now I have it at A1, right? But what if I want it here? I don't really want it there. I want it here because I want to add some stuff above. So just choose wherever you want the upper leftmost side of your table. All right, highlight your queries and connection. And by the way, if in case this side right here does not show, like just like that, you can go to data, and then under that you have queries and connections, and you can open this. Right now it says only connection, but you can see the preview, and that's indeed the table that you want to show. You can just right click on it, load to table, and let's wait and see. Okay, let's close this. All right, so you have unique IDs now, reading count, math count, language count, and then the scores for each one. The nulls here, that might mean that this kid have not taken math or language, or maybe they're exempted. Okay, so I hope this helps. Again, pivoting two items from a bigger data set. See you next time.